Okay, Tracy, welcome on board. Have you, I suppose the first question should be, have you discovered what the Humber Growth Hub is?
Well, it's been fascinating looking at all of the projects that are available to a variety of young people, from literally from sort of 19 all the way through to much older than what we'd call young people. There's funding available, there is knowledge, there is workshops, there is one-to-one support. There's absolutely masses of knowledge that with really good people willing to share it. And we just need young people to engage and come forward. I'm particularly keen, obviously, in my area is micro business. And I think people have a misunderstanding sometimes of micro business. And I think mainly because out of habit over many years, it's all been lumped into SME. And so all of a sudden, a lot of the grants and funding are, if you earn less than 640,000, you're an SME. But in reality, I think I was checking in a recent report, 76% of the UK's businesses are actually micro businesses who will no way will they have a turnover near that. So there's a huge opportunity, particularly with COVID-19 and the impact, for young people who are unsure of future, who maybe don't have the knowledge to start, to build themselves a career, a livelihood as a micro business.
So tell us a bit about your background. What knowledge do you bring to the feast?
Oh, gosh. It's such a varied background. I have done everything from working in market stalls and being a bunny girl to literally being a corporate global MD. I've actually run my own micro business for the last 11 years. I've literally, to do this project, I have parked that business because I think this is just such valuable work to do. So I've gone from literally working on market stalls, trying to learn, all the way through to running a 41 million turnover business where I had 17 directors reporting into me and 600 staff, to finding myself at home on a desk thinking, I haven't got any stamps. so real extremes of going to the post room and having an exec PA to literally, I wonder where the post office is. so yeah, it's a huge experience in terms of resilience, and also realizing you just don't know what you don't know, and you have to get off your backside and go out and find it. The biggest thing is just being determined when you've got a good idea, to just take a bit of a risk and go for it.
We're aware, of course, because we've been monitoring and indeed supporting the Excluded UK movement. We know that there are many different communities and sectors of the business community who've been overlooked. It's important, though, that we try to be, and you in your role, try to be as inclusive as possible, particularly to help some minorities. For example, accessing people who want to set up in business from the BAME communities. So how will you approach that?
I think there's also taking an understanding of different cultural aspects. And also when you look at those cultural aspects, I'm actually mixed ethnicity. So I have gone through all the, you have Chinese. I know I don't sort of look at now, I did when I was younger, but I've been mistaken for every different nationality. I did a lot of international travel, and whatever country I was in, I was mistaken for something else. And I think culturally, there are differences that need to be taken into account of how people come together, how people communicate. So I think there's a huge opportunity for young ethnic minority youngsters to take hold of their own future and step outside of those stereotypes that they get put into. Because when you talk to people and communicate with people, you find there are many, many issues there that the standard doesn't take account of. So I think there's a huge thing about listening to people and understanding their community and what's possible in their community. So for me, the first thing is finding those young people to connect with, and then really listening to how they need to set up a business. It's not about me at all. It's about them and their circumstances, which could be very, very different, from anything from colour to religion, to work times, to family situations. Everybody is an individual, and they should be listened to as an individual. And I think our programmes are flexible enough to take account of all of those situations from what I've seen. There's not much that the enterprise team and the MC4C team have not encountered, and will be able to at least signpost in the right direction to give support.
And we've noticed more young women join our programme than young men. I'm not sure what the statistics are in the self-employed communities throughout the UK, but a growing number. I mean, women are a force to be reckoned with.
Oh, absolutely. One of the biggest things I had to put up with is I originally went into manufacturing, and manufacturing when I was a youngster was very, very male dominated. And I won't even tell you some of the stories that were horrendous. In fact, I think now they'd be illegal. But it was just how it was. I was the first female apprentice in a 365 closed shop of men. So yeah, and I was a green, young Catholic girl, didn't really swear, and now I can swear like a trooper. So again, yeah, you've heard me. So again, those things are very important. It's about confidence, and also women have very different situations. I worked all the time, but I've got 3 kids, and for my kids are grown up now. But in that time, we worked out our own situation, because I didn't have family living close, I didn't have grandparent support. So you have to look at different situations. And for me, it might have meant working very long hours, but in an evening, as opposed to the conventional 9 to 5. But I think some of the figures that we miss out on is just how many micro businesses are run by women successfully. And I think sometimes the younger you start, there seems to be a gap of older women changing career, who suddenly, go from being the head of X department corporately or whatever, who suddenly think, I'm going to make jewellery and make it very successful. Complete life change. So the opportunities for young people or young parents or single mothers who are trying to make a better life for themselves. So I think there's a great deal of opportunity to reskill, relearn, and maybe make a better future that's in your control, that you actually manage and make your decisions for.
And how do you start to help people who have been adversely affected by COVID, by not only trying to run their business, but run it in a world pandemic?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing at the moment is there is an underlying fear. And I think because people can't plan, everybody in business tells you plan, plan, plan. The best laid plans will give you a stronger foundation. And I think one of the things for any business now, particularly micro businesses, particularly startups, particularly businesses that have had the rug pulled out from underneath them, excluded UK businesses are all, very, very successful, many of them. But because you can't plan, there's a level of uncertainty. Uncertainty breeds fear, which reduces risk and also hits you on a mental health level as well. So I think with the knowledge of the teams around me and my personal experience, that you need to be able to support people with things like confidence, particularly young people. It's about giving them the confidence and belief in themselves that they have a lot more to offer than what they might see. So it's listening to them about their hopes and dreams, understanding what their capabilities are, and then try and get them on the right signpost for the right kind of things that will help them. So you might have somebody who is young, who didn't do brilliantly at school, but has a fantastic idea. But they're always telling themselves, I wasn't any good at school, everybody was telling me I was stupid. So they've already got a belief, a limiting belief, that they will never be able to do anything. So sometimes from our mentors that are available, it's about building confidence. And I think for the excluded UK people, the businesses that are existing are falling through those gaps. I think it's about signposting them to the right kind of support. It might mean they have to relook at those business plans and adjust what they actually do to accommodate this unprecedented situation.
Yeah, you talked earlier about people's perception of what a business is. I heard a government minister this morning talking on breakfast television, being asked about excluded UK, and his answer was that these businesses could draw a dividend. But if you're a sole trader, not a limited company, that's not what you do.
No, exactly.
But do the government actually get what some of these businesses are?
I don't think they do. I genuinely don't think they do. And I think it's a misnomer from many, many years, where there's like big corporate businesses and the city businesses that might employ 2,500 people or whatever, and put forward, big expansive plans. And then there's everything else has been dumped into SME, small, medium enterprise. So you've got a huge chunk of people that are actually excluded really from small, medium businesses. And I think when you look at micro business, even the definition of that is between 1 and 9 employees. But research actually shows that around 70-something% of micro businesses are actually sole traders. So sole trader is a completely different setup to even being a small limited company. And there's a complete difference between being a consultant and a freelancer and how you set up that business. And it's also different kinds of businesses. I've heard people sneer when they say, oh God, I want to go do nails or I want to go do beauty. But I've seen people who've done, brought their kids up on their home business of going and doing people's hair and made a very profitable living from it while bringing up a family and basically going to people's houses before all this kicked off and doing people's hair at £15 a time. When you look at that, you sort of think, hang on a second, it fits with childcare, it fits in with tax purposes, it allows me freedom of choice and flexibility with even a carer for elderly people or even just yourself. And at the same time, I'm earning a living and I can decide what I want to do when I want to do it. When you look at it like that you don't need to have a minimum set of employees or a minimum turnover of £640,000 to be happy and successful.
So it seems to me there's never been a better time to be self-employed. If you look at the unemployment figures, like do your own thing.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at helping new businesses to set up new micro businesses, where do you start? Where are you going to start? How are you going to start?
Well, the first thing is publicising that I'm there. So we've been working quite hard on getting my name out, getting the contact details out. And then really it's getting people to actually talk to me, step forward. And from there, we might have a group of people who have fantastic ideas. How do we advise them on that idea? And actually, we've got to be really honest. There will be some people who have a great idea, but they really aren't ready for it just yet. So they might need more training. They might be better taking a college course. So it's about assessment as well, and trying to help people really look at what they've got now and what they need to be able to do it. So, for example, some people might need a little bit more help on things like bookkeeping and tax advice and things like that. Other people might be concerned about, you know, if I do this, will it affect my benefits because I won't be able to pay my rent? So there are all those things. So the first thing is talking with people, finding out where they are, and then taking that idea and helping them develop that idea in a way that gives them a good progressive line to follow. And at certain points, we can get them on workshops for what they need to show, you know, how to start a business, what do they need to think of, help them with basic business plans. I think the old style business plans, when you had to go to the bank, you know, the bank might sneer at you if it wasn't 40 pages long. But I've worked with some very good companies where we've literally had a one-page business plan. And it's about getting the basics in there. So better to know what you're doing and plan what you're doing and have a basic plus and add. Because that's really all business is. I need this much to come in. If that much is going out, I need to have a gap between what's going out and what's coming in. And in very simplistic terms, there's all the other information that goes to that to make it complicated. But ultimately, it's having a good idea, having strength and resilience to push it forward, and having support from people like Hull Enterprise, MC4C, and all of that knowledge is there, but it's getting people signposted to it and getting them engaged in it. So I'll be working very hard to find people who might just have a good idea, but maybe not the confidence or the initial knowledge to get themselves started. And that's what I really want to do. It would be great at the end of the year if we can say, hey, look at what these people have done, what these people have done for themselves. And all we've done is given that little bit of an edge of support to help them make that happen. And that would make me extremely happy.